we'll open our meeting. And so you gentlemen, have you had a chance to look at the minutes?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's it? All right.
That's what you were waiting for.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for. Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Pass that around later, you guys sign.
Okay. All right.
They gotta print it up there and bring it down, as I forgot.
Where's all this stuff? I'm almost scared to ask for the county auditor report because he's got a pile of papers here.
Well, some of that might come up, under other matters, actually.
Okay.
Anyway,
So where would you like to start us
I'm
off?
gonna start with Elaine Shapley.
Okay?
Which one?
She's a consultant.
Okay.
If I can find her, we didn't do that last week, did we? I don't remember if we did that last week or not.
I didn't get anything from her last week.
Got too many papers.
I thought we approved her.
Did we do that
We
last
approved
week?
it last week.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. For some reason, I did not leave that out of there. But I am as we speak. Okay. Then the first thing is the payroll AP claims. With payroll taxes, insurances, and so forth and so on that we have to do because of SBOA every year. And that is in the amount of $300,035.86. $335.86.
Make a motion to go ahead and pay that claims.
Second.
Okay, motion carries.
Okay. Next, I have the Allied monthly claims. And the monthly claims is in the amount of $58,983.40. That's the administrative part that we pay. That's not medical or pharmacy or anything.
What was that amount again?
$58,983.40.
Okay. Any gentlemen want to see that?
I'll make a motion.
Second. No, we don't need to see that.
All right, motion carries.
And actually, Stan, that's already signed, so
You're welcome.
you're good. Then we have Allied weekly claims. Last week, we had a credit. This week, we do not. This week, the amount is $129,005.30. And that is all medical. My guess is some surgeries and illnesses that have been stacking up are now coming in to be paid. And that's why that's higher than normal. So we had a carryover credit of over 4,000 that was subtracted, so it's actually, we actually had more credits than that. We had, and I'll pass this around so you can see, before all the credits, the total medical register was 241,000. So with the credits added on, it's 129,005.30. That's already signed, but just so you can look at it and see.
So that's multiple.
Yeah, that's more, I'm thinking that's more than one,
Yeah.
because we've had some extended illnesses and I think some surgeries and stuff where the,
Is some of that a carryover, Tony, from 21?
well, it's possible. It's possible. Could very well be.
Wonder how long it takes them to process a claim from the time it's generated until the time it's approved and comes to us.
You know, I don't know, and I'm assuming that it varies a little bit because they have to decide, are they a network? What's the deductible? What will they pay? What won't they pay? It probably has to go through a little bit of a process.
Couple months process, probably.
That could be. Do you know, Shannon? About how long it takes from somebody having a surgery till we actually get the claim? I mean, it can vary depending on several things.
I can ask, try to find out, but it could
Well, just like Rex was asking if we had some carryover yet from 21, you know, so.
And I assume that's still possible. Bill's probably still coming in from that.
I would think too, that'd be a long process.
I'll make a motion to approve that claim.
Second.
Okay, motion carries.
And next I have weights and measures, which I passed out to you all, that Inspector Dan Hackman submitted. Should have that in front of you. He did 29 inspections, it looks like. So,
All okay, or anything?
nothing with the wrestling team,
Okay. Okay, I didn't like that.
not this time.
Okay.
Only 2 were rejected out of the 29, only 2 were rejected. So,
Did you get a copy of
if the
that?
press wants a copy of this, they can have it. I got extra up here.
Okay.
If you want to press your luck. See what I did there?
Yeah, I get that, that's good.
Now, a play on words is Eric's job.
Yeah.
Thanks, Angie. For sure. Here's those minutes. The next thing I have is utilities paid in Lao.
Did I make a motion to put this?
Oh, yeah, we need a motion. for
Okay,
weights and
I'll
measures,
make a
sorry.
motion to put this report into the minutes, weights and measures.
Second.
Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.
And then utilities paid in Lao, the amount on that is $41,521.53. I had also put that in front of you. $41,521.53.
What does in Lao mean? That's just a legal.
Lao Financial.
Okay.
It's our finance software.
Okay, I see, okay.
So we pay the utility bills for various departments
I see.
that way.
All right. How's that look?
Tony, that double payment that came out of bank, what is that? What's that actually saying?
There was an issue. Shannon, do you remember Bree and I talking about that? Was it AT&T? There was a double payment because Bree had to call them and the people she called said it had not gone through, but it actually had, so it got paid twice. And we're putting that credit, well, Bree just walked in, she might. Bree,
Okay.
was that the sheriff's department, or where was that bill that was double paid
It
because
says AT&T, I
they told you
believe.
they told you it didn't go through and it did? Remember in Lyle, the utility?
It was,
Was it AT&T?
it was AT&T.
So she was on the phone with AT&T because she couldn't get through to them online, and so she called them and kept saying that the payment did not go through, and they even told her on the phone it had not gone through, but apparently it had.
Yeah, so this time we paid the double payment, so we still have a credit with them, but I did call to Regina, explain to her that we paid more, but we needed to get our side to balance with the treasurer side, and then we know next month there will still be a credit, so we won't pay quite as much on it.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, make a motion.
Go ahead and pay the claim for utilities.
Second.
Okay, motion carries.
Okay. Okay, let me go ahead and bring that up now, just since Bree was able to get here after helping somebody with payroll. I handed out to all of you, Steve and Rex are somewhat familiar with some of it, but since you were not here last week, Ed and I have kind of gotten together on some things something that I wish I had had when I was a council member. But it's various information. Bree helped me put this, well, Bree probably put most of them together. But it's information that's going to be necessary as we prepare to go into the budget season. And I realize that council is the fiscal body. However, there's going to be work sessions with both commissioners and council. So all the information that I'm giving you deals with all of that. And it's nothing we need to go over today necessarily. It's just, it has to do with budgets, how much was unspent, a lot of figures and facts, tax rates in surrounding and area counties of like, lots of good information that Ed and myself, Ed from the treasurer standpoint and me from the auditor standpoint, have put together to help everybody in this process. And I have copies of that I handed out to you guys. And I want to make sure, Eric, that you and Jim get all of these too. I think most of it is fairly self-explanatory, but if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. You guys have gotten this via email, okay? Bree added something to it to show a more true number. If you add the additionals in, on the difference with additionals in that column on this sheet, if the budget had been adopted and included all the additionals that were given, it would kind of show a more true figure. But keeping in mind, and this came up, I think, at the last council meeting, guys, these funds cannot be commingled with county general. These are CUME funds for specific reasons, which we put the Indiana code out next to it. And altogether, out of the 2.6 something million unspent in the overall budget, around 2.5 million is all highway. It's local roads and streets, MVH, county wheel tax, all of that. And it's necessary to have that because of all the roads that are constantly being worked on. And I forget, Lonnie had told us one year about what it cost for a mile stretch of road.
Just for plain chip and seal, that's just us chipping sealing it, is around $10,000. And we try to do, 90 miles in a year.
And how many miles of road do we have?
554 chip and sealed or paved, and then 106 is stone. And that's like right now, we're probably gonna spend $250,000 to $300,000 in stone. The guys are out working on the stone roads.
So it's, and I guess what I'm getting at there is there was not nearly as much unspent revenues as one might think. Because everything outside of county general is earmarked for certain specific purposes. And so were the majority of the additionals that were done, same way. They were done in funds that can only be used for that. The other thing to note in that same handout is there are some funds that are paid out of unappropriated. Drainage maintenance is one, recorder's PERT fund is one. So in some cases, it looks like there's monies in the budget, but that doesn't mean it's money that we can spend. It's only for specific purposes. And there's a big difference between county general and the rest of the budget. County general, we had an unspent amount of $341,000 and some change. Out of that, $310,000 was unspent in the commissioner's budget, which was over $6 million in that budget alone, which really isn't that high a figure. That's 2.4% that was left unspent. And there are probably reasons why it was still in the commissioners and not spent. I'm sure there are valid reasons for that too. So going into budget time, I just, I'm going to get this to the council as well. We just kind of wanted everybody to know where we literally are fiscally with inflation going up, gas prices going up. I guarantee you that mile of road is going to cost more. Equipment, if you can get it shipped. I mean, there are so many issues going on that I felt like, and Ed felt like, this is important information for everybody to have in front of them as we go through these work sessions and discussions. Therefore, I'm handing this out to you. I will to council. Mark has it. I'll give it to the press. Ed, I think, has a handout as well from the treasurer's perspective. So that's what you have. Nothing we actually have to go over all of that today. It's for your benefit to look. If you want to scan it and however you want to do it, that's what it is.
Well, basically, we came out better than what we had projected that we were going to.
Yeah.
Because a lot of that, some of it was painting gloom and doom, and we really didn't have it, right?
And Ed should have a copy of this for you guys too.
Would you like my perspective at this point?
Sure, why not?
Mine is a little bit, coming at it a little bit different than Tony. Tony had the facts and figures of specifics. I had all the fund or the money resources, the income resources that we use. And there are many different that we use throughout our bringing in about $80 million combined in any given year. And to bring in $80 million and to be within about $100,000 of money not spent, you can't get any closer to that. I mean, you just can't. And it is my job as treasurer to bring in all the money I can from all the different sources. And, concentrating on property taxes and personal property, of course, but also all the other money comes through the office as well. And Tony and I work really close together, but it is really tight to be within $100,000 on $80 million coming in every year. Again, you can't come any closer than that. So I want to make sure that we take every opportunity to use every available resource to bring money in. And I have it on the second page there. There's grants, there's all the income, the income tax, the personal property tax and the property taxes, tax judgments, a lot of federal and state grants we're bringing in. And then finally, the Indiana state tax levy that allows us to run the budget within a certain percentage. If we negate any of that, then we're hurting ourselves. And so to keep everything rolling, inflation's going up. We know it's probably going to be tighter this next year. We got to take advantage of every source of income that we're legally allowed to do so. That's my job. So Tony has the facts and figures. Mine is more of an overview of it all, but it's all pretty much written out there. Okay.
Well, I certainly appreciate Tony's perspective as the auditor being responsible for accounting to State Board of Accounts and Department of Local Government Finance and you also, as far as managing our money and getting the most opportunity for income to the county. So, and I know, for 10 years when I sat on council, when we managed budgets, it was line by line by line. And we tried to be as specific as we could as far as what was going to be needed in anticipation and manage those department budgets very carefully, because every expense and every appropriation that I ever looked at was, how is this going to benefit the taxpayers of the county? And so that was my bottom line on deciding on expenses. And so we have core responsibilities that that county government has to provide, and we have to fund those, and so it sounds to me like, we have been very responsible, and you're very responsible in giving the perspective to that as you are with the treasurer. So I'm glad to see that Adams County's in good fiscal.
I guess one thing that I just want to close with is that Tony and I, we work together very well, both of our offices. We're in constant contact with each other. We balance to the penny every single day. And that's important. And we do so, and everything works. So we just want to continue doing that and do the best we can for Adams County taxpayers.
So,
You know, the one thing that's interesting, Ed, and I don't think a lot of people really understand that, is that we're working with $80 million, let's say, and 32 million is property taxes.
Right,
That's only 40%.
right.
You
It's
know,
a
I think
big part
people
of
think,
it, but there's many more fun
Yeah.
opportunities that we need to continue
yeah,
to take advantage of.
Anyway, I appreciate you all taking the time to collect all the information and
but you did a good job.
discuss
Thank
it in
you,
a
guys.
meeting. I think it's pertinent information. It tells a fuller story about the big picture and not just one little part of it. The only other thing that I passed out to you guys for your benefit is, and Shannon and Bree can help me out with this if needed. We had always done the quarterly comp time, and we had told you all that AOD can now generate various reports on comp time and overtime. That is what I gave you. One of those gives the current comp time with the balance, and that is this one here. It's the one with the X on the back, because those are all zeros. That tells you up to date currently where they sit. The other ones, I think, Bree, were the other ones,
One's a comp time, which you would have earned within the period that's at the top.
pay period or something?
And then the other one is the overtime that was
Yeah.
actually paid out for those people during that time.
Because I've had, because I've had departments asking me if they still need to get all that information to me for that Excel spreadsheet. But that information that they will send me is the same information I just handed you guys. Does that make sense? So it may be redundant to do the Excel spreadsheet when we have it that we can print out at any given time for you guys to see on AOD and just print it out and give it to you. If you have questions, I had asked Bree to come down in case you had questions on any of that. Or Shannon too, for that matter. I killed a lot of trees today.
All right, I'm with you.
Well, we're gonna have to analyze this a little bit closer. I appreciate you putting that report together.
Just let us know what
very
you want to
thorough.
see.
Like, do
You
you
know.
do you want all three of them? How often do you want them?
You want just one of
And are you
them?
fine with that? I mean, we did have a department ask this morning if they still had to turn it in. I think Shannon and Tony are kind of
This
agree.
is
I don't
good
know why
enough.
department heads would still have to turn it in when it's in a
Because
computer
it's right
system
there.
and we can pull these reports.
I guess my thought would be, I know we've got a work session coming up with council. Maybe that's something we can address. Or what do you guys think? What would you like to see as far as?
This is what they print off from laws, right?
That, it came from AOD.
Yeah, so I mean, this is,
Like, do you just want it like once a month? Do you even want it at all? Do you want to know comp
This
balances?
shows comp time.
Well,
as of
I
22nd
think,
of each
When we
person.
have our work session, it would be
It's the same
nice to
thing
have
this
this
is the same thing
current
we got here,
report
right?
for that work session for sure.
Yeah.
That's fine, we can print it back.
Because
So
as
February, that's
as we
missing
discussed,
for a
if
month,
there's
that's
gonna
2
be
months
any
worth. This is in
action,
January.
But I think that we don't need all of it.
specific
No,
action,
that's
but
what
if
we're
there's
doing. We're just asking you
gonna
guys
be
what
any
you
thought
want. We just want
process
one
as far as
report.
how we,
Yeah, just
So
tell
what
us
do you
what
think? Is this the best one to?
if there's gonna be any policy
In my
changes
opinion,
or
that would be the
anything
best one
like
to give you.
that,
That gives you a
you
really
know, it'd be
overview
nice
of
to
what
have
everybody
this
has.
in front of
That's
us. I think,
Right?
at that
I
work
was-
session.
I'm okay with this.
Right.
The Excel spreadsheet that she gave you guys, which is the one that Rex is holding right there.
I would be fine with this.
This is in real time, what everybody has in comp right now.
As of today.
So I would say, it would be my thought, let's sit through that work session together with council. And, you know, together, because we're gonna have to work on this together with them. And just kind of see,
So we could do that report there that has real-time balances of comp, but then we could pull that over the one that says overtime at the top. And that would just show who all actually got paid for their overtime.
I would say if we had both of these in front of us for that work session.
But for the time being, do you want us to continue to tell department heads to send comp balances? I mean, I don't personally think it's necessary because they're just gonna take the data from the system, which is exactly what we're gonna pull for you guys. So it's kind of doing double duty in my opinion, but.
Yeah.
Well, I don't.
I think this is good enough.
I just think
I think this is good enough.
the thing we need to decide is what report do the commissioners want?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the council has nothing to input as to the reports that we get.
The only thing they would be interested in is when somebody gets their comp time paid out, I guess.
Well, I think it will, you know, if we change anything as far as policies moving ahead, as far as how department heads handle comp time versus overtime.
But as far as the report,
As far as
What I-
our report, what do we want? That's what
Yeah.
basically
and
they're
this was
asking.
a commissioner's thing, back when Doug was here, they wanted a quarterly report of where everybody up to date was on comp time. So what we're asking is what I just handed out, which gives you the same thing that they would report to me. And what Shannon said, if they reported it, they'd pull it off of here anyway, it would be this anyway. So do they really need to do it twice?
I don't think they need to do it twice.
That's all we're asking.
Because when the department heads turn it in, they turn it into Tony and he puts it in a spreadsheet. So really, they're gonna turn it into him, he's gonna put it in a spreadsheet, whereas we can push a button and that spreadsheet comes out of AOD. All I did is, I obviously did take like PTO, sick and all that, because you guys don't see all that, you just need the content.
And
Well-
it wasn't a policy, it was just something that Doug and the commissioners wanted at that time.
Yeah.
It is a policy, just FYI.
Reporting quarterly comp time was a policy?
Yes, it says that the auditor will report it to the board of commissioners using a report from the applicable timekeeping software.
Well, then that's what this
Which
is.
That's what this is.
So if that's in policy, it already is.
So there's.
I'll give you this.
Follow the rules, I can't believe it.
Hey, does it say the frequency though?
It says on a quarterly basis.
Quarterly, okay, all right.
So there's a quarterly
So,
report.
Right now,
3 months from now, I'll give you another,
unless you want it more frequently,
I'll
then we
give you
got
another
to.
quarterly
know,
report from the
the only
applicable
thing as far
timekeeping
as-
system.
The only thing I would say as far as frequency, if when we sat down at that work session, if we have a current report in front of us at that time, I think that would help us in that work
Well,
session.
that's not that hard to do. We just print it out and
But other than that, I mean.
we
I
can
don't know
email
if
it to you probably.
If we need anything more often than quarterly.
Well, the policy is quarterly, so we either accept that or we change it.
Yeah, no,
Hey Stan, is
Yep.
there a date picked for that work session just today? Can I put that in the paper today?
I think we're still finalizing
Angie
that.
has to advertise it, so she's working on it for me.
There's no date,
Yeah.
okay.
There is a date, but she's got the information to send over to you guys.
yeah,
I'll let her do her official thing.
so.
Anyway, that
So we'll
answers,
get it through.
that answers my question. We're still adhering to policy with this, so we're good.
Yeah,
But yeah, as far as redundant work, I don't know that they're
Not necessary. I
not
mean,
necessary there.
and when we
Well-
do have that work session, we'll
Yeah, it
email
could-
you that day
it
or the
could-
day
yeah,
before,
yeah.
real
They
time
could-
where we're at that time to everybody, and
Yeah.
you'll have that in front of you.
it's got to
See
be
where we're at.
advertised in the paper,
I think Ming will leave my thoughts right here, right?
So,
you know what? I haven't seen
Okay.
that anywhere.
well, you know, that's the one advantage of having
Normally they're not.
Plow and having an automated time system to where That was the whole intention, is to make it easier for your office and not harder for your
Yeah.
office. So-
Okay,
So hopefully that,
Is the work session private or is it open?
a work session is open. The only thing that's not open would be an executive session, and you cannot have an executive session for that,
it's open except for the
as
press.
much as someone like.
More money.
There's very few, there's really very few reasons that you can have an executive session. Very limited.
Yeah, just as far as some of that unspent money too, the only thing I was at is in my discussions with the highway department, it sounds like, they're cash rich as far as money coming into there, but the thing that I didn't understand either until I talked to Brad and Paul and Becky down there is, all the commitments that you have for projects, that the money has to be in the fund to commit to that project, even though it may not be spent if the project doesn't go forward for a year or even 2 years. So that money is committed, even though it's not spent. So, that was something to understand too, just to understand.
Well,
There's not a disproportionate amount of cash sitting in your
Right.
funds.
They have it, yeah. And the other thing I failed to mention on that one with the red lines that supposedly funds in the red, for example, I'll give you Cume Jail. Cume Jail, it originally said was in the red because council decided to zero out that budget.
I've
Now-
never been through that.
Zeroing out the budget did not mean that there wasn't money in there. It just meant if you want to spend any of that, you've got to do an additional to get it. So if you did get an additional, that's going to make it look like it's in the red, even though it's not, because you're taking out more than was budgeted that year. And there are several funds like that. And I think, Bree, correct me if I'm wrong, that after we did that, after you added the additionals and so forth, there really was only one that would have been in the red, I think, two. But those were recorder perp, only be used for recorder,
Drainage maintenance
drainage maintenance, which can only be used for that.
and prosecutor reporting.
And that can only be used for certain things too. Those are the only ones. And for some reason,
They pay out unappropriated.
they pay out of unappropriated. I don't think I was on council when that began. At some point, when Randy was on council, he decided he wanted to see those budgeted. So the department started sending over budgets on that, but the council really doesn't control it. It just makes the budget look bigger. Honestly, did I say that right? I mean,
A lot, for those three funds, they pay their payroll out of the budgeted line items, but for all their claims,
Yeah.
they just pay it out of unappropriated. So therefore, it's showing up as an expense, making it look like they spent more than what was budgeted, but in reality, they did it because they're paying out of unappropriated for their claims.
and these are things that, when I was on council, I didn't fully understand. I honestly didn't grasp it all. Not that I do now specifically, but I'm grasping it a lot better because I live it every day. And these are things that, it takes a while to really understand it. Just because, when you talk about appropriated additionals, unappropriated is just over a lot of people's heads. But with these that we handed out, it should show a picture of what the true state of everything is. So, again, if you have any questions on that, let us know. The council will have all of this information as well, prior to any work session and so forth, so. Because it takes a whole team.
That's right.
There's no I in team. Right, Brad?
March Madness.
We don't want to talk about brackets right now.
Now you see why I was afraid to call on Tony.
Well, I'm done now. Unless you have questions for Bree on any of that stuff.
Well, I think we've got a lot of information to go through here and but it's nice to be able to pull up a report and even customize it as we need to. And, So I know that's helped me too, so I appreciate that.
Okay, thanks, Bree. My right arm, my left arm, left leg.
All right. Okay, anything else, Tony?
That is all I have,
All right.
unless you want me to keep going.
I don't know if we have enough film in the camera to keep going much longer.
Oh, you can go till 1.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Acting county engineer.
Okay, it's done. There we go. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And his right arm or left arm.
Right?
Might be
left,
both.
Legs, that's what I hear from Tony, so.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so
Just don't be
we
long.
actually are starting off on the engineering side of things today.
Okay.
And what I have done was, there's a lot of projects, that I've came up with in discussion with some people. And so I put them on a paper so you guys can look at them. That way you guys can take that, maybe take it in, go look at that a little bit, and then next week, maybe we can make some decisions. But I can do a real quick brief on it. So like the 5 bridges that are listed, need work done. This is through our bridge inspection process that we hire a company for that 4-year cycle. And they come up with this stuff and they give us a list of priorities. So I took those priorities, and listed them there. And I don't know if right now you'd have any questions. Like I said, this is information you guys take. Next week, we can talk more about it. The one thing I would like to say though, when you see the list of them, and I listed what needs to be done on them, total replacement's pretty simple. The whole thing needs replaced. Where it says superstructure, that would be like the deck, the top portion, so the piers are good, the wing walls and all that other stuff are okay on. So it's not gonna be as big of a project, it's still a big project to replace out on top though. So that way when you look at them, maybe that'll make a little more sense. Like I said, if you wanna look at that, we can talk more about it next week. The buying the ground, just real quick. So on these bridges, we have 3 bridges that are notorious for gathering debris. And the one down there on 125 and 1200 South, we just had it done a month and a half ago, and it's already clear full. So through the years, when they come in, they'll take that stuff and put it on the ground that's right beside the river. We're running out of ground. We're talking trees, it's not small stuff. So to get in there and get that stuff, to do something with it, we're not sure. And this was actually an idea that was given to me by the former engineer that, if we could buy some ground, so that's something to look at. And then the bridge scour protection is something that was started, Tim had started that. It's something that is required, by NDOT to be done. So the plans this was all rolling. The plans are finally getting finalized. Hopefully by the end of May, we have plans. So that was kind of a brief overview on that stuff. So if you guys want to read that, and if you got any questions, let me know. We'll talk about it next Tuesday.
That debris that's cleaned from under the bridges, is that just set next to the bridge just because it's so handy, or does that get hauled somewhere?
I don't know where the problem is. I don't know where we'd haul that stuff
Well,
anymore.
we've just recently decommissioned the old landfill, and I don't know what.
Oh, that is actually, okay. I didn't realize that was
I was
finalized.
just gonna,
Yeah,
Okay,
we're reading each other's minds.
Yeah, you
I
are.
was just gonna,
okay,
that was my next, right there, south of landfill,
Yeah.
we just decommissioned it,
okay.
yes,
So that's official now.
yes.
All right. Okay. No, that
Yeah,
is
we
a
wouldn't
thought
have to
too.
buy no land.
Well, I think the north one is too, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. But we wouldn't have to buy no land, we could haul
Yeah.
it there and it's all fenced in.
Mhm. Have to see if there's still any rules and regulations on that.
I know there is, you
Okay,
have to
I'll
talk.
talk to Jeff.
There definitely
I'll talk to
is,
Jeff.
but
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't
Yeah.
know that would be something we couldn't do.
yeah, not for like trees and stuff, I can't see any problem, but
yeah, yep, okay. And then, the last thing I have, Bridge 106, is the old bridge is out. And they're working on all the prep work, the dirt work, putting in new tile work. And that work is progressing. They're moving right along.
Tell me again where 106 is.
200 south,
Okay.
east of 500 east. And if you guys want to go out there, that'd be great because it's pretty amazing. I mean, they're not messing around, so.
That'll be a new bridge.
Yes,
A new one.
totally.
People work on that.
Judy Excavating out of Fort Recovery.
Friday, GDE.
Yep.
Okay, Fort Recovery.
That would be 200 south.
Two souths. Yeah. About a half mile east of 500 east.
What's that cost, rough right on that, what?
750,000, not change. Yeah, it's a big one.
You know, that would be nice to kind of have a bridge schedule and even a road schedule as far as what
Yeah.
your plans are. Because I know Lonnie, I don't know if he was the first one to put the road schedule together for.
Okay. And we've given you a project schedule, was that last year, I believe? Yeah, but if you want a road schedule, we'll get one of those up too. Because right now it's kind of up here.
Yeah, because I know we've got, well, I mean, to apply for funding, didn't we have to put a road schedule together, Rex, for, yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was for community crossings money or what.
No, that
It was
was
for a matching.
before. That was done prior to community crossing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that old landfill's 62 acres.
I wonder if we can start throwing wood and trees on there and stuff.
Now I do know
I know
there's,
you're not allowed to dig it up, right?
well, I don't know.
I don't know about excavating, but I don't know why you couldn't put vegetative debris, which
Yeah.
is wood.
There is some of that that's actually floodplain, I do know that, but yeah, there's a lot of acres there. Yeah, I'll talk to Jeff.
Yeah, we probably don't want it in floodplain because then
No.
it'll float off of there and block a bridge again.
And that's why, like at the bridges, they stack them up away from the high water, because you don't want that back in there.
Yeah. So, okay,
If you have any questions about any of that, let me know.
okay.
Just, like I said, I put it on, actually print out a decent paper and give you a.
So is that something you sent, did you send that to us or gonna send?
No, not yet. I just
Or not
worked
yet?
that up yesterday.
Okay,
When I got looking at how much I had to talk about,
okay.
yeah, if you'd rather have an email, I can email it to you.
It doesn't matter.
That'd work.
Yeah.
that'd work.
Okay. But I mean, it'll be the same thing as I printed out, but I'll email it to you. So.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions on the engineering side?
Nope.
All right, highway side. We'll start out today with, we got our monthly draw for March.
Thank you.
Take a breath.
Greg, we'll get a copy of that bridge report when you get all
Yeah, if you'd like one, I can get you one. All right. The MVH for the month of March, $297,661.70. $297,661.70. On the backside, the local road and street. For March, $41,775.99. $41,775.99.
Brad, you had said something about, you heard about suspending the sales tax, was it?
Yeah, the gas tax,
Yeah,
the
was
state is not going to do that. The federal is, the way it sounds, they're wanting to do it.
We wanted to do it.
So basically, the state, since the state's not gonna do it, won't affect us. The federal side's gonna affect, this is my opinion, I don't understand, all that federal money they send out for all these projects. And if they're gonna stop that tax, you'd think that would put a hurt on all the projects they're sending money out for.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Just make inflation go along.
That's funny when you look at this month to month to month, it's almost like there's no rhyme or reason to the amounts that come back.
It's the amount of gasoline, diesel fuel, and that's purchased. And yeah, you're right, because
So,
this,
you know, even last year, you go from July to August to September, and it's 45.7 for July, 22,598 for August, 46 again for, it's funny how,
yeah,
but they've got a formula though, don't they?
oh yeah, they have a formula. Like I said, I wish I could show it to you, but it's, oh man, I've seen it, the presentation 2 or 3 times, and it's mind-boggling.
Because I think I watched it too. when
Yeah,
we
you were down
at
there,
the
yeah,
conference.
yes,
Yeah,
yep.
so,
Yeah, and the percentage we get is, or not percentage, it's pennies.
should never watch a presentation like that, like right after lunch.
Yep.
All right.
I know that feeling.
All right. Very good.
Make a motion to accept the report.
Second.
Put it in the minutes.
Okay, motion accepted into the record.
All right, the next thing Paul's handing out is our annual
Thank you.
operations report. This is something that's done every year, and it's for the the finalizing in 2021. It gives you all the numbers. It has disbursements, it has what we brought in, and a lot of stuff in there. So there again, handing this out to you gentlemen this week, and normally taken under advisement in the next week. If you guys okay it, sign it, then we can take care of it. So give you even more on top of what Tony's already given you to look at. So it's a theme today.
You're helping to prove my point.
Well,
All the money
already
for
Is there anything that stands out on this report that,
No, it's just all the funds. I mean, it's everything we brought in, stuff we've spent. And that's, as you can see, it's MVH, local road and street, and also Cume Bridge is also on there. And there again, I'll admit, like the balances, they look high, but when we have all that stuff waiting on the books, and we've got to have the money there for it. So yeah, those, at the end of the year, that's what the final numbers are there. I don't know, I guess, like Tony said too, if it helps, just throw this out quick, we've got over $1 million worth of projects on the books. Like Stan said, probably is not gonna get done for a few years, but we gotta keep them there. We've got equipment that's not coming in till the end of the year, so we got a $200 and some thousand dump truck that won't be here at the end of the year, but we gotta have the money there. So it does, it kind of skews everything from our side of it.
And if
Well,
you,
and you can't order equipment until the money's in hand
Yeah,
by statute, correct?
yeah,
And you can't commit to a project until that money's in hand.
Yeah.
So even though the money's in hand, it's sitting there.
yep,
and lowering anything or taking anything out of your budget because you're not going to use it for a couple of years just means you're gonna have to do an additional when it is time. So
Yeah.
it's artificially lowering something, but it's not really lowering something.
exactly. So anyhow, there you go, there's that. If you have any questions on that, also feel free to get hold of us and, then we can look over it next week.
Well, when I talked about core responsibilities before, this is a core responsibility of county government.
Are you wanting to get quotes from the engineering firms here to do these projects?
Normally, they will give us a quote and we can negotiate the contract with them. But normally, my understanding was you just kind of hire them to do it.
Okay, well, let's talk about that.
That's fine. Like I said, this is just stuff I don't want to take up too much time today.
Yeah.
We got a lot to talk about, but yeah. And then also help you understand by handing them out to different firms, that'll help the time frame of them, because if you give them all to one firm, it's gonna take them a lot longer to get them done.
Yep.
All right, you good on that? Now, if Mark says it's okay, we've got a bunch of permits. I can read through them, and then if it'd be all right to sign them afterwards again?
Yep.
Okay. For I&M on County Road 450 North, between 1 and 2 West, they're gonna relocate 1,200 feet of overhead power line to the south side of the road. Paul and I went and looked at it, and, we looked at the right-of-way and all that, and we don't see an issue with it. And then also I&M on 200 North, between 27 and 100 East, they're just gonna install a new pole on the south side of the road and move one pole 10 feet. So that one, the second one especially, there's a new house going up, they're gonna put a pole across the road and just move it up. That one's really simple. Yeah, we went and looked at them, didn't see the issues with it.
It's a power line and a pole, basically what that is.
Yeah, yep,
For a new house.
yep.
We need a motion on every one of these then.
Well, I figured we can do I&M all together, and then we can do CenturyLink together.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's the only two I have for I&M.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, motion carries.
All right. Not CenturyLink, Craigville Telephone. They've been doing a lot of work the last couple of years, and they're going to continue to do that. This year, they're installing a lot of cable. So the first one is on 200 North, between 600 West and 500 West, installing fiber optic. On 300 North, between 5 and 700 West, they are installing fiber optic. And when I say fiber optic, that's the cable, and they put their handholds, their boxes in the ground for the connections and all that kind of stuff.
So Craigville's doing fiber optic?
Yes. They've been doing a lot the last
They've
couple
got
of years.
Craigville Telephone there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
500 North, between 5 and 600 West. This one here is confusing. 400 North, and they're going to be between 400 and 500 West. On 400 West, they're between 2 and 400 North. On 100 North, they are going from 400 West to 700 West. And on 200 South, they are going from 500 West to 700 West. And they actually had given us a heads up on this, and a few weeks ago?
Probably been
A month
or so.
We went and drove each one of these, and they've been really good to work with. When we make a request, keep it at the back of the right of way, they've done an excellent job of that. If they have boxes, we don't want them in the bottom of the side ditch if the right of way is wide enough and they can all help it. They've been really good about it.
So these are all Craigville Telephone?
These are all
and they're
Craigville
fiber
Telephone
optic.
installing fiber optic. Yep.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right.
I know that takes a lot of time for you to look at these, but, I do appreciate that, because, once you make a recommendation,
Yeah.
it's good.
And like I said, he actually contacts us a lot. Hey, this is what we'd like to do. What do you think? Where do you want us to be? What do you want us to do here? He's been their contact has been really good about it. They've been good to work with.
Good.
All right.
Are they running like main lines or bigger lines, or just running for residential service, or?
No, they're running main lines.
Really?
And then, then if somebody wants hooked up, then they do that later. But yeah, these are all main lines.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, just informative. I learned something last Friday. I received an email from NDOT's Railroad Division. And a lot of times, people tend to forget, we actually do have a railroad that runs north out of Decatur. And we are responsible for the pavement markings and the signage that leads up to all railroad crossings. So we already have signage up. The signs are there, but we do not have any of the pavement markings. The big X, railroad. And we are responsible for that. So I reached out to Three Rivers Barricade, to see, and they do that kind of work. They've just done some for some other people. And they quote us a price. Now there's 9 spots that we have to do. And you guys can kind of visualize the big X and all that, and for $6,000, they're gonna do all 9 of them. So
Is there a reason that this has never been done before?
I asked, and, you know, some previous people, and they said, we've never done that before. But the email, I mean, it came right from their railroad division, and they said, you're responsible for it, please let us know when all deficiencies are corrected.
What do they do on stone roads?
That's a good question. Yeah. Yeah, we're responsible up to it, the actual right at the track and all that stuff, that is the railroads, we don't mess with that, so. Like I said, I just want to give you guys a heads up, if you see somebody out there doing something, or people ask you, you now have a little bit of knowledge, you know, why it's happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, why it hasn't been done all these years, I'm not sure. Really not.
Yeah, that needs done.
All right, next thing I have is, and this is a pre-heads up, but we're talking, you know, it's that time of year. We'd like to start our 10-hour days May 16th. This is just a pre-heads up. I'll bring it back to you again just to remind you, you know what we would like to do. But May 16th is when we'd like to start 10-hour days. And also to go along with that, then we normally hire 2 seasonal help to flag, weed whack, and whatever we need done. And I would like permission to start the process so we can advertise and possibly get a couple of college kids or somebody that age to do these things.
Hopefully that'll be easier with the new timekeeping program to go to 10-hour days and manage benefit days and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
So,
And like,
any other issues on going to 10-hour days on your end?
No, we'll have to just change the schedule.
Just
but
adjust
we
the
talked about
schedule,
that,
yeah.
The holidays
Okay.
aren't gonna be affected moving forward because the system is set up to what the policy states, which
Okay.
is the 8-hour day.
Good.
Yeah, it'll be easy.
and then the last thing I have, remember the new payloader you guys okayed us to do, and we ordered it last August? Came in.
Hey.
We got it. And we actually, we mixed the salt and sand with it, right? So it's been used a little bit. We've actually been able to use it, but you guys ever get a chance, come on down. We're more than happy to show you guys anything we have. We could have brought it up here, but it's not that fast. We could have parked it outside and showed you.
Got heat and AC and Bluetooth and.
This thing is nice. I mean, yeah, it's
Good.
Brad wouldn't let me build a glass box just so everybody could look at it. He said it's shiny new paint. We don't get that very often. I just want to keep it that way.
He'll be out there with
Is that John Deere?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is a John Deere.
So what happens to the old one? Was that a trade-in? I
The
forget.
Samsung was a trade-in.
Yep.
We still have the old Caterpillar rounds
As our backup.
as our beater or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a super nice machine. Thank you guys again for allowing us to do that. It was time.
Good.
But it is a very nice machine.
Hey Brad, does that thing move money or move salt?
Tell you what, Eric, if you've got enough money, I will be over with it to use it.
Hey, what did it cost? Seriously, what did it cost?
186,000 and change.
186?
Yeah, something like that.
And that is all I have. You guys got any questions about anything? Like I said, the guys are out working on the stone roads. You know, it takes a couple weeks, and we're in our second week of it, but it's going well.
Speaking of roads, are we at a standstill on 800 North? Are you waiting on us, or are we waiting on you, or?
800 North is kind of, Mark, do you have any?
You mean Mud Road?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got offers to go out, so I'll need to review those with you and make sure that we've got
Yeah.
what we need budgeted.
Okay.
Okay. So once we get easements, offers accepted, or not easements, but.
Right away.
Right away. Once we get right away offers accepted, then
Yep.
that's kind of where that's at, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I remember when Tim was still here, you know, we've already got a set of plans. I don't know if you remember Tim telling you, we've got a set of plans, so.
So that project, will not go to Stone Road, that'll go to a paved road, is that correct, or will it go to a stone?
Chip.
Or chip and seal?
We're gonna chip and seal.
Okay. So,
That'll help keep the cost down.
okay. My only concern when I looked at it was just with all the intersections coming together on Pickway Road there.
Yeah, and I think we talked about that at one time, at the angle of it, how it comes in.
So we'll have to be careful with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good deal.
And I guess a quick heads up too, I've got some plans for 700 South, and I'm gonna talk to Mark here after the meeting and try and get that going. So we still gotta meet with the school board yet and that, so.
Yeah,
I'll
South
talk to you
Adams, yeah.
afterwards, yeah.
And then,
Just a heads up, that's kind of, we're moving along a little bit on that too.
and then 350 West, is that waiting on right away also, or is that?
Yeah, is all the right of way done on 350 West?
I'll have to check. I know we talked about that here in the last
We,
week.
we had a whole list of projects that we've been in discussion with Mark's office and that about. And
Yeah. Because I know it makes it tough without an engineer to try and move some of the projects ahead. so.
And thankfully, and I'm gonna say it, and I'll say it in a public meeting, I thank Tim for everything he did because he had stuff set up, makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because some of that without an engineer, we know that we're gonna have to subcontract some of that engineering work out,
Yep.
so. That kind of goes without saying too.
Yeah.
To keep things moving ahead.
Yep.
All right. All right.
All right,
Well, thank
thanks,
you
guys.
for your work.
Thank you.
I don't think I took quite as much time, did I?
No use to ever hire an
Thanks, guys.
No use
Yeah,
to ever
have a
hire
good
an
day.
engineer, he does it all.
Well, if we come down there and we see Paul driving that new payloader 8 hours a day, then.
I offered to make that my county vehicle, but they didn't think it'd go fast enough to get around.
The only problem is we don't get the 40,000 from the state for having it.
Bridges. Yeah, and it'll be in the next couple of years. Yeah.
All right. Very good. Megan?
I just have one subdivision.
All right.
Now, Marcos has a bigger stack of paper.
They went light on me this time. So this is Fred Kunkel's place. So here's Pickway, 850, Monmouth's here. Here's the railroad, so when you hit 27, if you go straight, you go into his farm.
Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And what they're doing is out of the entire lot, they're gonna do a 1 acre piece right back here. It is going to have, the sewer district access. They're going underneath the railroad and the highway, so both houses will actually tie in, which allows them to go to 1 acre, which I think is what they're doing. Otherwise it'd have to be 2. Yeah, 1.45 is what they're going for that little lot.
This lot right there?
1.45.
Correct. And the state highway won't allow for another access point right there, so they're doing an easement on the driveway.
All right.
What road is that? Where, here,
That's Highway 27.
okay. And he's 50.
Well, I bet they had to jump through a bunch of hoops to go into the railroad and the highway both.
They actually said the highway was easier than the railroad.
Really?
Yeah. Railroad, they have to have flaggers. You pay 40,000 to have 2 guys stand there and just only go in there.
40,000?
Oh, for pity's sake.
The trains aren't there all the time. They don't always run. It's empty.
Exactly.
Oh, for pity's sake.
I could do that job.
Eric would do it
Give me a
cheaper than
flag,
that.
buddy.
You'd do it cheaper than that, wouldn't you,
Yeah,
Eric?
that's,
Good Lord.
Yeah, that's probably thanks to the flaggers union.
yeah, that's written in the code somewhere.
Yeah. Wow.
3-0.
Yeah.
Need a motion? Yep.
Yeah.
So moved. Second.
Okay,
Can I get a copy
motion
of that
carries.
first thing that,
Those 3 lines.
Make it a
oh,
copy
yeah,
of
bring
that,
it up, Rick, yeah.
Well, you were just about like this son.
I got one of those. I got that. This is the one here. And then give him one too. That's it. That's it, Chris.
The Plan Commission recommendation from last Thursday, is that coming to the commissioners this week?
I submitted it on my way down, so it is, Angie has it.
All right, so we'll need to get that on the agenda, because that has to be on the agenda.
For next week.
Okay, thanks.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you. You're welcome, thank you. All right. Well, that was the shortest one of the day so far.
Maybe Rick won't be.
Okay.
You have a
I
lot
did
to-
I bypassed you right up. Sorry about
How do you
that.
overlook Rick?
Yeah.
You're just used to seeing him in the steering committee, aren't you?
You're only 25 minutes late. All right. So, Rick, we got anything? Yeah, sorry about skipping over you there. All right.
Guess I'll start on where that truck is sitting right now. Stefan, that's the gentleman that's gonna be starting our room down here. I'd like to get permission to set a dumpster there. If it's okay to take the debris and stuff out. So it'll be sitting about right where that truck is.
Will that affect Council on Aging?
They're no longer here.
They're not here. Oh, yeah.
So I guess not.
Okay.
Unless you're gonna have that out the Merit Center.
All right. Hey, I've been on vacation, okay?
Stan, you were only gone 1 week.
Oh,
So anyway, right where that is, I'd like to designate that spot.
you gotta contact the city and make yourself.
I'm going to.
Yeah.
Just to get
longer to find it than it has to go.
Sam's had his dumpster out there for how long? Sam
Yeah.
Conrad.
It's still over there.
It's still-
It was this morning.
Hey, they're gonna move pretty soon, I guess.
Along with that, I was just talking to Stefan this morning, and that's the guy that's gonna start on the room, downstairs here. He may be in this weekend, start tearing carpet out, or this week, I should say. There's carpet on the walls, get started. So, begin with that. Wanna, kind of get this every year, there's heavy trash pickup. This year it is the week of April 4th. Our trash gets picked up here Tuesday, the 5th, Tuesday morning. It varies, 8:30, 9:30. But Tony, what I want to put out there is if anybody has anything that they want thrown away, I would suggest Monday afternoon it gets put out here on the sidewalk about where that truck is from here to the alley.
What's the date of heavy trash pickup?
The week of April 4th, I would say that our trash goes on Tuesday, the 5th, but I would have it out there Monday. And usually by Monday evening, that stuff's all gone anyway if there's anything out there. But if there's anything that they have, we need to get rid of it.
Can we just send something out, an email to all the departments?
There'll be a dumpster sitting out here though, right?
Well, hopefully they're not, we don't want to throw it in there. Do not throw it in the dumpster.
Along the curb.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just turn around and back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
just
we
a
can
little
keep
bit
it back
south
here
of the
toward the
dumpster.
alley.
Okay.
So you're talking like broken chairs,
Well,
broken
maybe a
tables, file
broken chair,
cabinets.
it may be, yeah, whatever, an old heater, floor heater, just natures of that.
Okay.
How about the courthouse, Rick, then? You could also-
I will,
Separate thing for that.
yeah, and they're a different day.
Oh, I can know that, okay.
I'm just talking about the complex right now.
Right.
What day is that?
Heavy trash is the week of April 4th.
Get out there early enough, you got these people come along and
Right by or
pick
around
'em
town
up.
or what?
What do you got coming out here? So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a city.
These people go around, they just look for anything that some people don't store on it. You know, like
Um,
file cabinets, like maybe in an
Probably Probably the last thing I wanna bring up
Take 'em.
is, our temperature's been flexing. It's 70 degrees out, it may be 40, 50s, whatever. Well, with the way we're heating, and I'm talking about the complex, the way our heating is set up now, because of how our one chiller runs, I either have to have the heat off, or I gotta turn it on, because we don't have occupied or unoccupied. The only thing where I'm going with this is some offices are a lot hotter than others. Get very warm. I don't like it warm either, but that's what we're dealing with. So we may have offices that may have their thermostat in there may say it's 85, 82 in there. Some are worse than others. But what I've done, and I did it, I didn't want to because I tried to control it otherwise, was right now we got our air on. That one chiller's running because we have people that are hot and they're hot in their offices. But towards the end of the week here, we're gonna be 50. So I'm gonna have to go and turn that off and get the boilers back on. I'm just saying, I just want everybody to just bear with it. Once we level out and it's warm, we'll run that one chiller. We'll turn it back on. And we got flexibility, different temperatures in each room. I mean, last week I got calls from several different offices that they were warm, and it was hot in there. But that's the reason why. And if any of you get a phone call, that's what's going on with it. That's here in the complex only.
Is there anything different this spring than there has been for years? I mean, this building has had the same heat and air conditioning systems for many years, obviously. Is there anything different this spring other than just running off one chiller?
Well, it takes that one chiller that much longer to get to that capacity of where you have it set
Okay,
versus two.
okay.
That's the difference.
So as far as the heat system, is it either on or off, or, I mean, is there?
Well, so I can get that chiller to catch up, I gotta turn the heat all the way, just turn it off. The boilers are off, so I can get that room temperature down, run that one chiller, and try to maintain it off. And if we just left it off, it'd be fine, just like it was last summer.
Yeah.
Well, not fine, but that's what we got.
Yeah,
That's the difference. We only have one. Same system, same thing for the last 26 years, 27 now. But that's because we're only running one. It just takes longer to get it leveled out.
so once we get the new chillers in,
It should, I would hope.
we'll be able to manage that
It
much
should be
more.
fine. It'll be occupied and occupied.
Yeah,
It just takes longer to get there. That's the problem.
I see.
It's
Gotcha.
70 one day. What's gonna be tomorrow? 50?
Yeah,
It's just, if it was the other way around, it's 50, then we go all the way to 70 that day. And I think one day it was a 30, 40 degree jump. Now it just takes
Yeah.
longer to get it where it's gotta be.
right.
So that's what I had on that.
Any word on the chiller project?
Yeah, I've got the specs. We're gonna try to get it published this week.
Okay, good.
There was new light bulbs. Well, yes, we changed the old light fixtures in Superior Court in the hallway to LEDs. So there's 6 fixtures that got changed. Now where the ladies sat in back behind there, there's some out in there, and that'll probably get done next week. So they'll have all LED in there. I wanted to make sure you guys, I told you that. That happened
All right.
yesterday.
Are they, I assume they're okay with that. I mean, LED is such a different light than
Well, I talked to
a fluorescent.
Judge Conrad and Carrie and Andy, we all had a couple weeks back.
That's what they wanted.
Yeah. Well, I thought it needed it because the other bulbs in there were the big fat round ones.
Oh, yeah.
I can't even hardly buy them. So let's get rid of it. And that's just in the hallway, so.
Like with those LED, I know in the bulbs, they make the different types of light, the soft white, the daylight.
Yeah.
Do they do that with
Yeah.
tubes too?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. And they're not the brightest in there,
yeah.
just because of that. Well, just like above the judge's desk, podium in the courtroom, he has access now to turn that light on or off. Where before, the bulbs were out with the previous judge we had, he didn't want them in there at all, but now Judge Conrad can turn them on and off to what he wants.
I just don't want to see a quote in the paper saying that they're not the brightest over at Superior Court.
Well, we'll,
Because if you do, he said it, I didn't.
There's the headline, not the brightest.
not the brightest.
Yeah,
I can start right here.
not the brightest bulb in the world. Well, that'll be,
Well, they didn't want it that way.
yeah, I'm
They
sure
didn't want
they'll
it over the
appreciate
top.
that, yeah.
So they're about mid-road.
Okay, yeah. Very good.
I haven't, Steve, I haven't got the quote back from that guy yet on the roof, but I'm not pressing that just because.
We can't do
Yeah.
anything. We can't do anything.
I know, but I mean, he'll get it to me, I know he will. So that's what's going on there. You guys got something?
I don't know that I've got nothing here. Thank you, sir.
Yep, thank you.
You know, I looked at the clock tower yesterday, it was right on time, so.
Well, it'll be all right. Hey, did you hear they're gonna leave it alone next year? It'll change. in the
Oh,
fall,
really?
Then change in the spring and
I
then.
don't know if he's up.
Good.
I can't do it. Probably a combination.
All right, thank you, Rick.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, Carla, would you like to come up?
I'd like permission to order 800 megahertz radios. They're gonna be each purchased on a different grant. They're, both will be $3,193.80. Both grants, I've got permission from state to order them. So I just need permission.
And those would be like for Jess and Nate, or?
No, these are for preparedness and the clinic.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So, Jess and Nate are gonna order theirs, I think this year also, but theirs is on a different grant.
Okay.
Mine is on the preparedness grant and the clinic grant,
Okay.
so,
How much is the grant?
well, the one clinic grant was $72,000 and something. It's just a line item on the grant. We were purchasing all of their equipment for COVID and different things. We purchased the freezer, the refrigerator and different things for the clinic. And it was all under, and that's going to be a continuing grant for 3 years that we can do supplies, needles grant and everything on it.
If we already signed that grant
Oh,
agreement,
yeah.
that's been awarded, so that's.
Yeah, I gotta
already
do
been-
this, and everything has to be here before June 30th, and it's a 12-week lead time because you can't get anything.
And that's
now.
a 72,000 per year?
No, that was 72,000 for an 18-month period,
Gotcha.
so
And how much are the two radios?
they're $3,193.80 each.
Okay.
So, do you want one of the quotes?
Yeah, was that Motorola or what is it?
Yes, it has to be Motorola because that's what's compatible with the dispatch.
Oh,
So it's a dedicated vendor. That's why I only need one quote because we can't get anything other than a Motorola. And this is the only company that sells Motorola's in the area.
Yeah, that's the way it usually is with Motorola.
Yeah, I've dealt with them for years. And it's
They're
like,
proud people.
yes, and the programming sometimes just as much as the
Mhm.
actual radio, so.
Yep. So,
Are
yeah,
they the
Yeah,
800?
and
800
Robert
megahertz?
Hakes will be, programming everything here at the local level.
yeah, so you need a motion to approve the purchase of those radios from that grant.
So moved.
Second. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carl.
You wanna just,
Thank you.
does Tony have the paperwork? Do you have the paperwork on that?
Yeah.
The grants were approved last month.
Do you have the?
I don't have that.
You wanna send that to Tony? You wanna email this to Tony so he's got the?
So we can
the
attach it.
You
radios?
just want me to email it? Yep,
Yeah.
I can do that.
Just scan an email and then we can save it.
Oh, it's already in an email. I just have to forward it to you.
We'll just attach it for SBOA if they come and audit the grants again and everything.
Yeah,
It just attach it to that.
okay.
I wonder how we do something like that with asset management. Do we have to tag those when they come?
If we had asset management, it would you gotta figure out what you're gonna, like, somebody's gonna figure out. How do you market everything? What do you need to be able to do that? How are you going to track every department's asset management? Is it going to be?
I was born south of the river.
IT? Who's going to track it? You know what I mean?
But I mean, that's the kind of thing that, you know, over the years,
That would be above the threshold of cost. Right now it's 2,500.
right.
Uh,
But I mean, State Board of Accounts would still ask about that.
Well, the State Board of Accounts could come in and say, we would like to see the paper trail on the purchase of these radios, and we'd have to look it up and give them all the information.
Okay.
All right. Very good. Shannon, did you have anything for us today? All right. All right, Mark?
We will have on the agenda next week, the response from Adams County Planning Commission. They met last Thursday. If you recall, the commissioners proposed a change to the zoning ordinance for the setback for schools to be 300 feet instead of, 800 feet instead of the 3,000 feet that's listed in the zoning ordinance. The Plan Commission held a hearing, considered that. They rejected that. It comes back to the commissioners. I haven't seen the language yet, but I got an email from Pat Hess explaining that they felt that that they could go along with 1,320 feet, which is the same setback for residential from a CAFO, confined feeding operation. So it's back to the commissioners now. You can do a couple of different things. One, you could say, no, we said 800 and that's what we want, and adopt it at 800, and then it becomes law. Or you could say, we're going to propose, something different. And since they've kind of signaled at 1,320 feet, if that is the setback for residential properties from a confined feeding operation, then I would say that at least then has some basis to make sense why a school would be the same. If you gentlemen are willing to go along or willing to say, well, we can live with 1,320 feet as a setback for a school, then we would just repropose that to the Plan Commission. They've got 45 days to have a hearing on it and either approve it, or if they don't do anything, then it becomes law. So anyway, it's kind of a back and forth. I wasn't, well, Steve, you were at that meeting, I guess. How did you feel that it went?
They didn't like 800 feet. Not at all.
So,
Now, the state law, though, is 1,000.
okay.
You know, when I think we went with 800 from a recommendation from Mark Wynn.
Yes.
What was his reasoning for the 800?
I
I
think,
can't remember.
I think that that's what it used to be.
Yeah, that's what it used to be, but it is 1,000, and we looked the books up. It's not 800, it's 1,000.
So anyway, you don't have to decide today. It's not even on your agenda. I asked Megan, she certified it to, I think, the auditor's office, and so we'll get it this week. But I have to put it, it has to be on your agenda before you can take action on it. So Tony will need to get that on the agenda for next week. And you've actually got 90 days from the date that they come back with, a rejection. They can either approve it, reject it, or they, the law's not real clear, but they kind of propose something different. But really, the way it comes back to you, if you're going to do something different, you have to propose it again back to them. So you could do that next week if you were so inclined. You could and I've already started drafting it, so you could do another resolution and send it back. It would be similar to this resolution, which was 2022-5, where you proposed the change from 3,000 to 800. You would just send it back at 1320. And then it would be up to them. And then again, if they don't, even if they would reject it, it comes back to you and you can adopt it. So sooner or later, this back and forth is going to stop.
So either way, the 800 feet is not something that we want to do because that's,
But we could send back 1,000, couldn't we?
but we
Yeah,
could
you could.
send back 1,000 or we could send back the 1320 or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there again, just give it some consideration. We'll have it on the agenda next week. So
Hey, it almost sounds like there's reasoning for either one, whatever we decide. So, okay.
all right, that's it.
All right. Okay, anything else, Ed?
In addition to what we talked about earlier, we've been up on Xsoft now for 3 weeks live. We still, every now and again, refer to MVP because we'll always have that info, but we've been working with Xsoft and it's been working very well. I've come to find out that the 3 desks, Kathy, Deb, and myself, we're gonna need one of these desktop scanners where you put the coupon underneath that reads the barcode. We have those up at the counter, but we're also going to need those for our desks to make Xsoft run as efficiently as we need to. If they're less than $100 a piece, I'm going to the tech committee Thursday morning. Mike Brown wants me to go there. We'll hash it all out, but we're gonna have to figure out how to pay for it. My thoughts, it should have been part of the Xsoft installation to begin with, but we're gonna have to pay for it afterwards, but it's, $300, a little less than that, so. And then Thursday afternoon, Kathy and I, along with Tony and Angie from the auditor's office, we're heading down to Indy for the tax sales seminar from SRI. And it was really, really good last year. It helped me to learn a few different things. And through the tax sale process, we only have 2 outstanding parcels in all of Adams County that haven't been sold this last year. So we're doing good with all that. That's all I have.
Very good. Yeah, and, and I'm sure that was, an understanding between you and them as far as who was supposed to provide those, and it would have been nice if they did, but.
They could have added it into the overall cost. I mean, we're gonna pay for it one way or the other. but
Right.
To me, it should be part of the initial proposal, but that's all right. I mean, we'll take care of it.
Yeah. That was interesting, sitting in on your tax sale and the certificate sale both.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting process.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
yeah. Okay. Anything else? Tony, anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, meeting adjourned.